I'd like to call the meeting to order. All board members are present. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I have one item to change on the agenda. I'd like to move the integrated learning presentation to before the board committee reports so they can get to university night at the high school.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with that one stipulation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0. Now we will have Jane Dittberner introduce the
Thank you
integrated
for
learning.
taking the time to listen to our students tonight. We have people here who are going to talk to you a little bit about a project that they worked on with this new program that we started this year. It's called the Integrated Learning Program. And first semester we focused on global business and economics and writing and research. And so they worked, we had 6 different groups that worked on projects with businesses here in town. Some were school related, some were non-school related. And this group of individuals worked with Tony Boothie and talked a little bit about developing a brand for our new program. And so they did some research on it and they're here tonight to present their findings. In addition to that portion of the class, we also had mentors and quite a few community members stepped up and worked with our students on developing a relationship and talking about professional skills and just developing them as young adults, going off into college, many of them. And overall, it was a fabulous opportunity. And second semester is started now, and they are doing a healthcare and sports science class. So the students study psychology and anatomy and physiology. So I'll let them take it from here.
Hello, my name is Andrew Shiver. This is Abby, this is Joe, and this is Lakin. And thank you for allowing us to present to you today. And today we will be presenting our proposition on how we can shape, change, and market the integrated learning program for the future. And I know I can speak for all of us when I say that we all have a common passion. And that passion is shaping our own educations to suit our needs. And this program definitely helps in that passion. And we definitely want to shape this program for the coming years to help future students like it has helped us. And so let's look at what we believe to be the mission, vision, and values of this program. The values, and we got these by interviewing Ms. Dipper, Mr. Dubé, the teachers of the first semester of the integrated learning program, and also asking the students. And those values are developing lifelong learners, instilling an effective work ethics, and a high standard of work learning. And what we believe the vision of this program is help prepare students for the post-secondary education and the possible careers that may follow. And how we do this is we provide students with a hybrid of hands-on and collaborative learning with professionals in a variety of fields. In the first semester, we definitely achieved this mission. The professionals that we learned from came through mentorships and guest lectures and even site visits. We visited Target headquarters, we visited Life Touch, we visited Chart. And it was very eye-opening experiences where we got to look into possible careers for our future. And a program like this needs its own catchy name. For that, I will turn it over to Abby.
So for name ideas, we thought of that an acronym would be a really good idea. So we wanted to get just like words that we believed would like really describe the program. So we came up with the MARS program, which stands for Mastering Academics and Real World Skills. So along with this name, we also needed some logo ideas, and we just believed that this name was a really good idea because it does really stand for what the program does for students, but it also has kind of that futuristic sound to it, and we just like that because it is really gearing us up for our future. So we have one design that's a really traditional Trojan New Prague look, and then we also went with more of a futuristic, creative look for the Mars logo. So along with a name comes like marketing and just like getting the word out about the program. So I'll turn it over to social media.
Sorry. We believe social media is an effective way to raise notoriety of the program, but also connect teachers with students and parents that participate. We believe it'd be great, create an easy way to communicate things, teachers to students, things like guest lectures, assignments, visits, and that kind of thing. And also really just help us spread the word of what we think the program should really be. And now I'll turn it over to Abby for a little bit more detailed look into how Instagram would work.
So with Instagram being really popular for students, but also parents and different teachers, we think that Instagram would have many benefits just from uploading a picture so that students and other people outside of the class could really see what we're working on, what the off-site, like our satellite spot, what it looks like. And then another positive about this is that students are typically more interested in viewing a picture, that also you can put a caption to it. And one of the drawbacks would just be that many students might not actually follow the account, so that's why we think that Twitter would also make up for that.
One form of social media that we also looked at was Twitter. It uses information that you can put online for other people to see. It's very popular between many high school students, and it's a great resource because students who may not be following the account of the IOP program will also be able to see retweets from their friends. A negative is that not many parents are on Twitter, so they will not see this information. At Minnetonka Vantage, teachers control their social media accounts to provide exemplary content and security.
In addition to Instagram and Twitter, we also looked at Facebook for a social media possibility, and we concluded that it would be a very effective form by connecting the teachers and the parents of the students, due to having a very visual class with site visits and guest lectures and mentors and such. Now, we think this would complement Twitter, not be a standalone, because by connecting the parents with Facebook and the kids with Twitter and Instagram, then we can reach everyone through this class. We believe that it would be a good idea to put these social media links on our New Prague Area Schools webpage or our Facebook page. And we believe that Facebook would give us a leg up on Vantage in Minnetonka because they do not have a Facebook program yet. I will hand it over to Abby to talk about some alumni of New Prague High School.
So with this program just starting this year, we wanted to get an idea of what high school alumni thought of the program and just give them some background on it. So some common answers, for example, were from Casey Bartizal, who now attends the University of Minnesota, and she was a part of the class of 2015, and her quote was that spending hours studying for an exam is necessary, and I should have gotten into the habit more of studying in high school. So just with this, we believe that this course, with it being two really hard and challenging classes combined, we think that it really prepared us for different works or homeworks, and it helped us to manage our time and study properly. And then along with Casey, Bobby Geiger, also a New Prague graduate, he now attends the University of St. Thomas, and he stated that just after telling him about the course, he stated that he would have definitely taken the program, and he said that learning to communicate with different businesses and adults and the economic coursework is really important in college, so he thinks that this is a good transition from high school to college. And along with Sydney Anderson, she basically said the same thing, and just that managing your time in college is really important. So we believe that this would really help students just with that kind of high school to college gap. So now I'll turn it over to Joe for class interests.
As part of our research, we gave out a survey to over 200 students across the high school. We went into 2 required classes of each grade to get a large variety of interest. These are the results we got back for what classes people would be interested in taking. The highest was healthcare with 17%, engineering with 13.1%, marketing and design with 12.6%, business economics with 10.7%, and education with 10.4%. This program is based around healthcare and business, so we'd like to keep it that way. We'd also like to add some more in-depth classes in these fields. Also, we would like to recommend adding engineering, marketing and design, and education as possible future classes. Now I will hand it over to Lakin with ILP communication.
Thank you, Joe. We took this survey, and another question that we asked was how students heard about our program. And as you can see, 27.4% of students said that they heard from their teachers. And we really appreciate this. We think this is a good thing and should keep up. The teachers promoting our class is really what helps us build it and get it noticed by others. In addition to this, the counselors came in and talked to our whole entire grade before scheduling the year before this class, and they also talked our class up and really is what interests most of us to join this class. And I think this was very powerful and should continue in the future, along with teachers talking it up as well. Now I'll hand it over to Joe to talk about college credit.
The third question we asked on our survey was if people would be interested in taking this class if college credit was offered. 128 of the kids said yes, and 70 of them said it depended. At Vantage, they have a year-long course worth 3 credits: AP Economics, Business and Management, and English and Advanced Research. We believe that if this class was 1 year long, people would be drawn away from it. We do not have enough room in our schedule to take up 3 classes, and now I hand over to Andrew's proposal.
I believe we should look at some of the positives and negatives of adding college credit to this course. Some of the positives is that the material we are learning is AP, and it would be nice to get college credit for learning this advanced material and putting in the extra work. And also, at first, will increase interest of the program. As you saw, many people were extra interested if the course offered college credit. And also might help pull away students from PSEO and keep kids in the high school. Some negatives, though, is that it loses the class loses the flexibility, because as a college class in high school, you have to follow a strict structure of education and assignments, and then eventually you have to take the midterm and the exam no matter what. So it'd be very difficult for the teacher to teach the kids all that they're supposed to know with a very flexible schedule. So it just turned into a very regimented course, and that's what we like about the course. A lot of the times during the semester, we would come in and the teachers would ask us what we wanted to do. We want to work on essays, projects, or learn more about economics, and then we got to choose what we got to do as a class, and that really helped us out manage our schedules and make us feel like we had some control of the situation. And along with college credit being negative, it increased the workload even more. I can't speak for these guys, but I know I was a little bit stressed out this semester because of the class, in a good way though. But if the workload increases, some kids might be turned off by the program because of the extreme workload. And so now I'll give it over to Joe for a possible website design we have.
A website will help to bring the organization, to the next level by making it feel more connected through a collaborative and unified place. A few ideas we had for a website was a calendar of all the events going on in our classes so people could go online and see what was going on. Also, we would have a section where businesses would be able to partner with the class so they could get involved in their community. We would also add a video about the program to encourage students to join, and we would have a brief description of every class offered. Finally, we would have the mission, vision, and values of the program. These are crucial to the success of the program. Now I'll hand it over to Abby with apparel.
So just briefly for apparel, we believe that kind of along with social media and the marketing of the program, we think that it would be just really beneficial for this program to have certain apparel, and maybe it could be like a possible t-shirt, but it could also just be, you know, like certain items that the students would want to use in the class. So that's why we think that apparel would be really good to have as well. So Andrew will sum it up now.
And now to just kind of go over everything we said, because there's a lot of information in kind of a short time. The name that we came up with is MARS, Mastering Academic and Real World Skills. And we believe that social media would be a definite benefit according to our research, and just looking at other programs like ours, like the Vantage program in Minnetonka. And as class interest, the two programs are the most popular according to our survey. And then we believe that adding more in-depth classes in those fields would definitely boost interest. But then eventually in the future, we would like to add more classes in other fields as well. And then we would spread the word through social media and students' word of mouth. That was also another big contributor to how students learned about this program. And by college credit, by researching other programs and taking from our own experience, we believe that college credit may not be the right move at this time, especially when the program is as new as it is. In future though, with more in-depth classes may come more college credit, because the class would not be described as so flexible. It would be more structured. So we believe college credit right now might not be the best move, but in the future could be a viable option. And I'd just like to say thank you for your time. I hope that what we brought here today is useful and that it shapes the program for the better in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we ask you questions?
Oh yes, of course.
I know there's been some discussion of a 3 class period long class. Would you still have taken it, or is the 2 class period long class more appealing?
I can answer that one. I definitely, when I heard it was 3 period classes, I was a little worried because that's a lot of classes out of the day. But then when it turned to 2 period classes, I really enjoyed that, because then for me, I have choir and band that third hour, and I really enjoy those classes. So, and it just allowed me to put more stuff into my schedule. But if it is a 3-hour class, then that would also imply that there is more material being covered within that 3-hour class. And so I believe that, I can't really say for sure, but depending on the schedule, I'd say I would still take it if it was a 3-hour class.
Do you all agree?
Yeah.
I know you maybe start class at 7:30, and some students had to go over to the school beforehand at maybe 6:30 for meetings or wrestling practice. Do you think that kept some students from partaking in that class, or might in the future, or could this be set at a different time during the day?
I think that the teachers that we had were very flexible about us showing up late if we had a good reason. So I don't see that as a problem right now, but if there was something to occur, I don't know what it would be, but that might cause an issue. But as of right now, there is no problem. There was no problem with it.
I was thinking of how I was going to ask this question, but go to Amy before. Of the things that you did, I was going to say, what surprised you the most, and what are you going to walk away with for the next 3 years or 2 years until you graduate, or just to prepare you for college? You could just sum it up in a word, sentence.
For me, it was learning the soft skills. So I mean, like 3 days into the program, we were being interviewed. We had mock interviews. So I found that really helpful. And then just with presenting different, different projects that we had, and they really got us up in front of the class a lot. So I think that helped as well. And then just with professionalism and just having to dress up every day. It was kind of scary in the beginning, but I think that we all got used to it by the end. And we realized that if the class didn't require that it would have a totally different feel to it.
Sure.
So I think that it was just the soft skills for me.
That's good.
Don't feel bad. I was asked to be a mentor, and I almost turned Mr. Wookie down because I was scared too. But I'm very glad I went forward to it. I learned a lot from it.
Everyone can learn something new.
That's right. That's right.
I just want to mention too, just what the class entails. Of course, this is a sample of one of the projects that was done for the class, and Jerry mentioned every student had a mentor. They mentioned that they did site visits to businesses. Electromed was one too that they went to. Guest instructors came pretty much every Wednesday or close to it, and I think they learned a lot from that. And then they did Shark Tank at the end, so they had a competition. And we brought in business leaders to be the judges of that. It was very, very well done. So along with all the coursework too, economics and research and, with their literature part there. So I think as you can see, we've got great kids that are in this program, and we hope to continue this. And we've got Newburgh University night tonight, so be showing off that program tonight to get more kids interested. So I think this is just the tip of the iceberg. I think it's only going to get better. And you guys did a great job here. I think with this experience, you're going to have a leg up on your fellow college students down the road. I know that one of my sons was a business major, and things that you're talking about were things that he and I discussed about what he was doing in college. So you're going to be maybe a little bit ahead of the game, so to speak.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Next, we will move on to our committee reports.
Motion to approve the consent agenda. Yes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0. Now,
We had our policy meeting on January 11th, and all the policies that we reviewed basically updated just to match MSBA, except for we did add one. We are in the process of a new policy being recommended by the high school, middle school, elementary counselors and principals from each building, and that's the policy 534, memorials for deceased students, staff. That's it.
thank you. Southwest Metro?
Southwest Metro met last Tuesday, and it was quite a full agenda. It was our organizational meeting for the coming school year, or for the coming calendar year, I should say. And we had our election of officers. There was one change. The vice chairperson is Deb Pauley now, rather than Mayor Mansky, who resigned from being on this board. We had a number of discussions dealing with standing committees also and membership on those. And we did through the same things that we did at our organizational meeting, newspaper and compensation and things like that. We also approved a number of action items. The calendar was approved. We approved a grant for agricultural educator. We accepted some donations. And we also talked about our professional development day for the ALC. The ALC in the Southwest Metro Co-op was given a state award for being an outstanding ALC. And one of the things that they get to do is go to the ALC conference that's going to be held in Mankato in a couple of weeks. So we approved a professional development day for the teachers so they could attend and get the accolades that they deserve for running such a good ALC program at Southwest Metro. And I think that pretty much takes care of it.
Thank you. CPAC?
I'm going to defer this to Don. I was double booked on that morning, so Don took the CPAC meeting for me.
CPAC was January 18th, and first thing they did is talked about the open enrollment, and at this time New Prague is about 34 ahead of the number of kids that left. So it's about 77 to 43. They also talked about Dr. Clay Cook, who spoke on Martin Luther King Day, I believe. And then they covered a lot of stuff that was covered in the community ed, so I'll give the community ed one also. You should all have some flyers of different events that are going on in the school system. And the community ed is working with the CPAC group on these. The one that is kind of interesting is March 29th, and there will be an FBI agent as part of the Speakers Bureau. Many of these are former student, Chris Hurdler is speaking or organizing them. They're all free events, so again, look at these and put them up someplace and see if we can get some board members and some people at these meetings. CPAC at least is a little discouraged by the number of people that are coming to some of the things that they sponsor.
Don, I have a question about open enrollment. Was that students with IEPs that they were talking about? That open enrolled into New Prague with IEPs?
It must be.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Thanks, Don. I don't think there was a wellness committee. And was there early childhood? No. All right, on to the superintendent reports.
But like I mentioned earlier, we have New Prague University tonight at 7 o'clock at the high school, so we'll be heading over there right after this. And last year was the first year we did that, and very successful. We're looking for a bigger and better night tonight, so students and parents can learn more about the options that they have with college level classes for our students. Flyer that's at your desk right now too is kindergarten registration's coming up February 21st, so that'll be here before we know it. So it's a very important time. Construction, obviously the boardroom and the district offices are all done now, and like we said, the last meeting when middle school, 6th grade's over there. I mean, not everything's completely done. There's still a number of things to get done with punch lists and stuff like that, but we're enabled to inhabit the area here just like the 6th graders do at the middle school. Aquatic center's coming around nicely. They're filling in around the decks right now, putting in the tile for the zero depth pool. So that's moving along good. Preschool got moved to the west side of the CC and those classrooms down there after the break because asbestos abatement began on the east end of the building. So that's moving along. Just so you know, too, bids, there's actually a pre-bid meeting coming up here this week for Falcon Ridge and ALC, and then the bids, bid process, the official bids will be on February 2nd for Falcon Ridge and ALC, and the following week on February 9th for the bus garage and tennis courts. So,
What time are those?
I believe 3 o'clock. I believe it's 3, the same time as we've had in the past. If it's different, I'll let you know.
Might be 2.
You think it's 2?
I think it's 2.
2 o'clock? I'm sorry, 2 o'clock it is. So, that's fine.
Tim, could you mention about the selection of the aquatic center director, where it's coming along?
Oh, yes. Yep. Aquatic Center Manager, we've got interviews that were conducted last week, first round interviews. We interviewed 9 people. Janelle Kirsch handled that part of it. She's our Community Services Director. And they narrowed it down to 3 candidates. One has withdrawn, so we'll be conducting interviews this Thursday for the final 2 candidates. So I would say by at the latest, early next week, we'll have an aquatic center manager. So we're very pleased with the quality of candidates and very comfortable with the two that we're bringing in.
And there'll be someone from the city sitting in on those interviews?
Yeah, yes.
If they want.
Yep, Ken Anditch. And we've invited everyone was on the advisory board, so.
And that's a very important position because the decisions that are going to be put into place for running that aquatic center and all the programs that will be done through it is very crucial.
Yeah, and we've got the two people we got coming in have experience, so, and then we've got our consultant Dwayne Pearl will be able to ease the transition and as we go through, because we've got him as a consultant through the start of the pool, so we feel very good about the way things are going through right now.
And Mr. Prell was part of the interview process too, which helped the
Yeah.
initial interview process.
Yep.
When do you anticipate them starting?
As soon as possible. The sooner the better. I mean, early on, we wanted the person starting sometime in the beginning of February, but it's not going to be then. But hopefully sometime later in February we could go on this.
Is the pool still scheduled to open the July? Is it the
No, June 15th.
15th, okay.
I mean, they've said June 10th. They moved it up a little bit, but I'd rather just say June 15th.
You just said June 10th.
I guess this is on record.
So will swimming lessons then be done at the aquatic center then? FPI?
Yes, I mean, that's what our plans are, is to have them there. Yep. And yeah, the details and everything, obviously, with the new manager along with our consultant, we'll get all that worked out. And working with our advisory board, and especially Janelle Kirsch, who oversees everything.
Thank you. Sandy is going to present information on the auditor RFQ with the recommendation for us.
Yes, thank you. Back a couple of months ago, I communicated to you that we have a desire to find or to look for a new auditing firm. We have been with the same auditing firm for many, many years, and the last couple of years have been a little unorganized, and we wish to try to find another auditor to work with. I want to comment on our current auditor. The people involved, I think we're all very good. It's just the system that they use just didn't bring a lot of organization to the process, and that's very frustrating during a very stressful time for the staff anyway. So we created an RFP and sent it out, RFQ, request for proposal, and we sent it out to 9 firms. And we had 5 respond, which was very good. I've been talking to some business managers in the area, and they would send it out and maybe get 2 back, so it was very good that we got 5. We had Abdo Eichen Myers, Baker Tilly, Bergen KDV, Ide Bailey, and Redpath. And basically, we took those 5 proposals and we had a set of criteria that we evaluated them on based on experience of the firm as well as the audit team that they proposed. We asked for a proposed timeline. We had been bringing the audit to the board for approval in September, and I decided that is just pushing it a little bit too much. I think I'm going to go for October next year. With a district our size, it's very difficult to have field work in August. The year ends January 30th, and things like, special tuition billing doesn't run until mid-August, and so you're having to try to make decisions and make estimates and then make adjustments at the very end, and it's very difficult. So I'd like to move that process out a month. And we have until the end of December to do it, so we still have plenty of time. So we had them propose a time frame of when they would do field work and when they would have the audit report ready for me to review, and then with the proposal of giving the audit report in October. We also checked references on each firm. We called 3 districts, sometimes 4 or 5, to get a good feel for their current clients. We asked for school districts of our size, and in some cases they were able to offer that, in some cases they weren't. They were much smaller districts. And then if I had any personal experience with the firms, we took that into account. Also wanted to talk to them and have them be able to support this Certificate of Achievement for Excellence process. This is an award that districts can apply for with the International Business Official Association, and it's a very prestigious award to receive. And it does help at time of bond rating and so forth. The bond rating, Moody's raters look very favorable upon getting this award. And I would like to make it a goal in the next couple of years to be able to apply for this award for our district. And then we just looked at the overall quality and the content of the proposals. We had a wide variety of responses, what they focused on. Did they focus on customer service? Did they focus on their expertise and so forth? And then of course the fee. And the fees ranged all the way from $20,000 to $29,500. Just as a point of reference, we paid $31,500 last year for our audit. Based on this, we selected 2 firms for interviews. They actually came in, and Sheila and I met with them and had about an hour-long meeting with many questions to ask them. And we focused on really rapport. I mean, a financial statement to some degree is a commodity. You have to present the financial statements and so forth, but rapport with the staff and with the team is very, very important because you have a relationship with them throughout the year. You want to be able to call and ask them questions. You want to have a good time while they're here. You don't want people that are, going to put you on the defense right away. You want people that are very professional and very easy to work with. And we also focused on the process that they would use, asked a lot of process-oriented questions during those meetings. And we brought in Baker Tilly and Bergen KDV, and they both were on the high side, the $29,500. For us, the fee was probably the signs and symptoms. Least of the criteria, just because for $9,000, if the audit isn't organized or if they're not doing a good job communicating with the board, we didn't feel that was that important of a thing. We certainly didn't want to spend any more than what we were spending. And based on this, we are recommending that we go with Bergen KDV. They are a firm that deals mainly with Minnesota districts. They have a list of probably 75 districts that they do, charter schools, various sizes. They actually do the Minneapolis School District, which I don't even know how to approach that, but they are the Minneapolis, one that does the Minneapolis School District. They really have a specialty and an expertise in internal controls, and I do think that based on their experience, their recommendations that they can give us, they're going to make us a better school district in the area of internal controls. They also have had the most experience with Minnesota school districts our size. For instance, 4 or 5 of our comparable districts are done by Bergen KDV. They have a very strong expertise in that Certificate of Excellence program, that one of their auditors is actually a reviewer for that process. They have templates available that could help us prepare the materials necessary to submit. Their board communication materials were excellent. The communication letter that you get each year from the auditor, it just had great information. I had one reference that I called for Bergen KDV, and they said she felt that their board had never been better communicated with following an audit. So I was very impressed with their communication materials. And also one of the partners on our case is very active in MASBO, the Minnesota Association of School Business Officials. She gives a lot of presentations at MASBO. She's also on the MDE Education Finance Committee. So she has a lot of expertise in Minnesota. And sometimes there's questions, if she coded here, she coded there, what about activity accounts? She is definitely seen as one of the experts in the state of Minnesota on Minnesota school finance. So we're recommending that we go with Bergen KDV. And what would happen is if you approve that tonight, I did tell the 2 firms who I'm recommending, obviously, because it would be public as soon as the materials were posted on Thursday. But basically, then they would give us an engagement letter, and I would have Kitten sign that at the next meeting.
And do you start working with them right away, or?
Right away. So I already have a few questions, because I always call the auditor through the year if something weird comes up, and it's like I'm not quite sure how to handle it. I always call the auditors, and I haven't really called our current auditors, so I would start calling them right away, and then they would start gathering our work papers from the last couple of years. They would start already probably in April. And then they would put together a list for us, and we would do the schedule.
Where are they headquartered
They have 2 offices, one in Bloomington and one in St. Cloud, and they have a partner from both offices on our account.
When auditor firms are changed, does the previous auditor provide any assistance in that transition, or is that strictly up to the district to do that transition?
No, they should provide assistance. There's a letter that I will sign authorizing them to be able to work with the new auditors, and I see no reason that there would be a good, smooth transition there.
Any other questions?
I'll make a motion to approve Bergen KDV as the new auditor for our school district.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you.
Next, pay equity.
Kitten, could I just, when we talked about auditors, I need to put an addendum to my report on the Southwest Metro Co-op. We did have our auditor's report last Tuesday when we had our meeting, and the auditor's report was very positive. There were no issues that were brought up that were controversial or any problematic statements within our financial house, so to speak. So things are good as far as the auditor is concerned for our audit at Southwest Metro Co-op.
Okay, thank you. Pay equity.
Yes, pay equity. Every 3 years, public entities are required by law to submit a pay equity report to the state of Minnesota. Basically just measures between male-dominated jobs and female-dominated jobs, whether we're paying appropriately. And this report is based on our new job evaluation system. If you recall in the budget this year, there was a budget line item for a job description and job evaluation project, and we are all done with that. Basically, all job descriptions in the district have been rewritten and are up to date, which is a huge undertaking, and many of them were 15 to 20 years old, and that really, is not a good practice. We need to have up-to-date job descriptions. Along with that, we implemented the decision band method of job evaluation to assign points to the positions, and so this pay equity report includes that new job evaluation system. And there are 3 tests to pass. We have passed all of the tests. Excuse me. And so now we submit the report based on your approval. And then someone from the department does have to review all the information. If they have any questions, they will contact us. We don't actually pass it until they notify us that we've passed. But we should have no issues. So we're just asking for approval of the report so we can submit it in the morning.
I'll make a motion to approve the pay equity report.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0. Chart abatement.
Yes, okay. So I have a nice summary for you that I attached to the board meeting today. But if you recall that back in 2012 that you approved an economic development abatement for chart that included 2 abatements totaling about $435,000 over a 12-year period. And then chart in return had some job creation retention goals to meet. In October of 2015, they requested a 1-year extension to meet those goals, and we granted that. And they had until October 8th, 2016 to meet those goals. Excuse me. At the same time they applied for the ED abatement, they also applied for a MIF grant through the Minnesota Department of Deed. Basically, the job goals that they have achieved per deeds calculation, it wasn't quite black and white. They had a lot of variables, a lot of moving parts. For the deeds calculation, they said that basically chart created 44.7% of the jobs that they were required to create, or 35.75 out of 80 jobs. So recently, the city in December took action to accept that 45% job creation number, and they used that percentage to calculate how much money that they would actually owe to chart based on those job creation numbers. And because they had a large payment up front of $500,000, they have to actually request repayment from chart of $174,000. And the city attorney has determined that utilizing this approach satisfies all the legal obligations we have under the agreement with them. So utilizing that same methodology that the state of Minnesota and the city of New Prague used, basically we would, of the $435,000, we would owe them approximately $194,000. And to date, we have paid about $147,000. So that means we have remaining due to chart of $47,314.14. So pending approval tonight, we will make the remaining payments to chart by the end of the fiscal year, and then we will discontinue any future payments to them. And the city attorney is preparing the necessary legal documents to accomplish these actions, but tonight I need the approval to go ahead and make those, final payments and to stop further payments. And hopefully in the next month, in February, I'll have those documents ready from the city attorney.
Are we following the same thing this county did too? Scott County, do you know what this Scott County?
Yeah, the county did something different. They took action actually before October 8th. They took action, I believe it was October 4th. And they just discontinued future payments. And that's really between chart and the county, because each agreement is separate with the city, the district, and the county. So we believe that this is the best course of action to take and consistent with the city of New Prague and the deed department for the MIF grant that they received.
And what's Chart's opinion? They kind of agreed or accepted this, or haven't really heard from Chart, I guess?
I have not heard from Chart. Personally, no.
Is this unusual to have happen? Is it, this doesn't happen very often in Prague because we don't have these kind of things come up, but is this something that happens in other tax abatement?
Yeah, it's pretty unusual. What happened in this situation was, the market kind of fell out because gas prices fell. The market just bottomed out, and, Mike from the city has been dealing with these for many years, and this is the first time he's had to do this. So very unusual that the job goals are not met.
Yeah, and keep in mind, they had a 1-year extension on top of it too.
Right.
So, I think, we wanted to wait to see what the city does, and they had an attorney working on it, so we didn't want to duplicate, we wanted to take what their attorney went with. And I think we're in a little bit different situation than the county, our relationship with Charts along with the city.
We're closer to the situation.
Well, and Chart works with the district on other things too, so.
Right.
And at the time, it was the right thing to do for Chart, I think, back in 2012.
Yeah.
Well, with the numbers that were
Yes.
projected,
So,
all you can go. Make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the abatement schedule. Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0. We have a resolution to purchase produce from a school board member. I didn't ask beforehand, Jerry, but can you read this when it gets to be the time?
Okay, I need a motion first.
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
To consider.
Okay, I need a motion to consider resolution purchase produce from a school board member. Got a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Whereas the school wants to purchase fresh produce from a local producer, whereas the school board member Dennis Oblichek is a producer of fresh produce, whereas Minnesota Statute 123B.52 Subdivision 1 provides that contracts for perishable food items may be made by direct negotiations by obtaining 2 or more written quotes when practical. Whereas Independent School District 721 School Board Policy 210 Conflict of Interest, school board members requires assurances of value in contracting with a school board member. Be it resolved, the Independent School District 721 School Board authorizes the contracting for fresh produce with school board member Dennis Oblichek, provided that all assurances required by ISD School Board Policy 210 have been met. How do you vote, Don?
Yes.
Sherry?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Jeannie?
Yes.
Jerry, yes. Danny?
And I abstain.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Next, I have a resolution to accept a donation from the Boys Basketball Booster Club. Do you have any comments to make on that, Tim?
No, well, basically, it's for the addition to the scoreboard in the gymnasium.
Okay. Do I have a motion to consider this resolution?
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded to consider the following resolution. Whereas the New Prague Area Schools Board of Education has established a policy concerning the acceptance of gifts to the district, and whereas the policy states that the board may receive for the benefit of the school district request donations, grants to the school, and have a sole authority to determine whether any gift of value $1,000 or more, with any precondition, condition, or limitation on use included in the proposed gift, with a value $1,000 or more, in the interest or benefits of the school district, and whether it should be accepted or rejected. Whereas the school board may accept the gift valued at $1,000 or more only by adoption of a resolution by 2/3 of its members. Whereas the Boys Basketball Booster Club wishes to donate 2 scoreboards for the high school gymnasium, and the value is over $21,679 with no conditions. How do you vote on that, Jerry?
Yes.
Jean?
Yes.
Kitten?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Sherry?
Yes.
Don?
Can I ask more specific what this is?
This is the addition to each of the scoreboards where they have the, or in the scoreboard, they have the player names.
So there'll be 2 of them
Oh, it's really under one. It's under one. It's not,
It gives more information.
yeah, there's 2 pieces to it or whatever.
then? Yes.
It's on the same scoreboard.
Dennis, yes, item passes.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to thank the New Prague Basketball Booster for that donation. It was very kind.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0. Meeting is adjourned.